What's going on today, Mavic lovers? I thought I'd sit down and make this video. If you want to use your Mavic Pro with some VR and some FPV flying, I gotta tell you, that's thumbs up. That's pretty much the only way I fly. Okay, so let's start with a pair of goggles. These are a pair of VR goggles that I got off eBay for 15 bucks. They are a pair of VR Shincon, and we're going to talk about them first before we get into the rest of the stuff. Now these are just some hard plastic. They're inexpensive pair of VR goggles. Now what you want to do when you buy, or if you're looking to buy a pair of VR goggles, I'm going to give you some tips here, and you might definitely want to roll with this because I've been flying with these goggles for some time now. Now on the VR Shincon, this front plate is removable. As you can see, it's just magnetic. We're going to toss it off to the side. Now I have an iPhone 6s Plus. For my iPhone to do everything I wanted to do, I had to come in here and I had to take my Dremel motor and do a little mod here. So once the phone's inside the goggles, the camera can look out and I can use the camera for landings and takeoffs. Now the most important thing you want to remember when you're buying a pair of VR goggles is you want to make sure that there is a lot of airflow flowing into these goggles, and that's what the deal is with these. They're very nice for that. They also have some nice big holes here on the side. Don't worry, you're not going to see any sunlight in there with those holes, and you're not going to see any sunlight in here with this, with the faceplate off. So I had to make the little thing. Now there's some other things you definitely want to look for when you're buying a pair of goggles. Is you want to make sure that they have a focus in and out. Excuse me. You want to make sure that the eyepieces, sorry about that, you want to make sure that they are adjustable for the width of your face. And you want to make sure that the lenses are removable. These lenses can screw on and screw off, so I can take them off real quick and clean them. On a very hot day, if this thing's just sitting on top of your head and then you pull it down onto your face, it is going to steam up on you, I guarantee you. So I don't ever put it on until I'm ready to fly. So that's pretty much it for the VR Shincon. I think there's a VR Shincon 2 out right now that is pretty basically the same thing, but it might have a little bit better lenses. So you might want to look into that. But either one of those pair is going to be a great pair of FPV goggles. Now usually the phone is inside there, the cable comes out, and then the cable hooks up via bottom of the USB on the controller right there. As you can see, I have a long cable. So now we're going to get into the app a little bit. Right now we are in the Litchi app. This app is about 20 some odd dollars now. I know I only paid $15 for it when I bought it because I've had it for quite a while now. Excuse me again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the VR mode. Now to get into the VR mode, I've set this up on the C1 switch. So now as you can see when I pull it, I am now in the VR mode. And if you can see, if I move this backwards and forwards, like me tilting my head backwards and forwards, my gimbal will go up and down. I can look all the way down, the gimbal will look all the way down, I can look all the way up, and the gimbal will look up, which is very, very nice. Now, for landings and takeoffs, on the C1 button again, we're going to do a long push. Now the camera mode is on for my camera, and this is just like me looking inside the goggles when I'm inside the goggles. I can see the Mavic or my Phantom sitting on the ground in front of me. I'll be able to go ahead, pull the sticks down to the center, or do whatever the case may be, take off. As soon as I get takeoff and it's in a hover, I'll pull the C2 or C1 switch again and go back into the VR mode. Sorry, this cold's killing me. But that's pretty much how I have this set up. Now we're going to go into a few settings right here. We're going to click on the settings button right here. Come on, there we go. So now we're in, we want the OSD display. That gives me all my telemetry. You can plus or minus to make these actually, to make the pictures move in and out. That's pretty cool. Gimbal tilt is on. My speed is down to 1. I want a real nice slow up and down with my gimbal. I do not want that herky-jerky crap going on. Aircraft head tracking. Now I have this turned off. There's immerse and there is joystick. Okay, I can tell you right now, immerse is not bad if you want to fly that. Do not fly this in joystick because it totally sucks. What happens is if you put it into joystick mode, it will keep rotating in one direction until you turn your head in the opposite direction. Then it will just keep rotating in that direction. I don't even know why they call it immerse mode or joystick mode. But the immerse mode is not bad at all. I've definitely used that. The immerse mode is when you turn your head to the left or to the right. The Mavic will yaw to the left and to the right. You can't do any kind of bank turns with that, which kind of sucks. Because I like to turn my head on another app that I have, and I'll show you a couple other apps if I remember. I can actually turn my head to the left, give it some left stick here, and it will just come right around and bank for me, which is not really nice. It doesn't do it with the Litchi app, but it does it with another one of my apps. Okay, so let's exit out of here. We're going to go into the settings on the Litchi app. We can just flum through this real fast on how I have this set up. Units, Imperial, map is hybrid, GEO system is up and running. The 2 Chinese things, definitely no. Home orientation, yes. GPS, coordinates, yes. Language, English. What type of version we're using, right? What kind of firmware we're using on it. Go home altitude is 40 meters. Maximum altitude is 110 meters. Healthy tokens, no. It is with healthy drones. It is on right now. I really don't use that. Dang, excuse me. Signal loss behavior, return to home. Gimbal extension. Now on the Mavic, you can use the gimbal, the 30-degree gimbal extension that will come up another 30 degrees. You can use that if you want because you don't have to worry about props being in your way, and you don't have to worry about your lights being in your way. You definitely want your lights on the Mavic because that definitely helps you with the orientation. When you're quite a ways out there and you really don't know which way it's going, just spin it around nice and slow until you see the 2 red lights and bring it right back at you. That's real nice for orientation. Let's see. Forward collision, yes. Vision positioning system, yes. Front LEDs, yes. You can calibrate your compass right there just by clicking that. Auto record, yes. So as soon as I'm about 3 feet off the ground, it will start automatically recording. I do not have to hit the record button. You do have to hit, even when you bring it down and you stop the motors, it will stop recording. Let's see. Peak hardware decoding is on. Peak focus threshold, no, I don't have that. It's on none. Let's see. Auto, grid lines, none. Gimbal mode, it should be FPV. And light bridge, no. I can format my SD card right there. Enable speech, most definitely want to enable the speech on the Litchi app. Every 30 seconds it's going to tell me what the altitude of my aircraft is, what the distance is, what the speed of the aircraft is, and what the main flight battery is doing when it's in the air. That is a must-have. That way there you're not glancing down looking at your screen or taking your eyes on what you're flying to look up here what your battery's doing up there on the app and stuff like that. Don't need it. It's good. She's going to tell you, the lady on here is going to tell you what it's doing. So just remember that in the back of your mind when you're flying. You'll love it once you do it a couple times. Now these are the settings that I have. The C1 button toggles the VR. C2 button, that's the autofocus. The C1 button long press is toggle the VR camera. The C2 long button is resets the gimbal from a down position to an up position, or from an up position to a down position. The D5 button, digital zoom in and digital zoom out, in which you can zoom in and out while you have the goggles on. I'd be very careful about doing that. The map is on the D5 left button. Sometimes if I'm doing a waypoint mission, I do want to glance over to the map real quick. So I'll just hit the D5 button to the left, and it's going to show me the map and exactly what's going on there. The D5 to the right is my AE lock and unlock. Once I set my camera, and let's say if I'm in auto white balance for some reason, if I'm out there flying in auto white balance, and if I'm out there looking straight forward, that's fine. But then if I want to tilt the gimbal down and look at the ground, all of a sudden the picture is going to darken up. So before I do that, I lock the auto balance, and then if I tilt down, then the picture is going to be exactly the same as when it was when I was looking forward. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. And last but not least is the D5 button. Just to press down, straight down on that button, puts you in home lock. Now home lock is a very important little tool. I'm here to tell you. home lock will get you out of trouble extremely fast. Some people might want to put home lock on your C1 or your C2 button. So all you got to do is click that very quick. Now what home lock does is, if you feel like if you're in trouble in any way, shape, or form, you've lost orientation, you don't know which way you're going, click your C1 or your C2 button or the D5 down button, what I have. It doesn't make any difference. Once you click that, you pull back on the stick, and it doesn't make any difference what orientation is of the bird. It doesn't make any difference if it's looking over here, no matter what difference. Once you pull back on the stick, it's going to come straight back to you. You can get out of a lot of trouble very quickly with just the press of that one button. I guarantee you, I've used it many times. I know exactly where that button is on my Phantom 3 too. So if I feel that I'm getting a little too close to a tree or something like that, some people will just freeze up and keep going forward and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Just if you get in any kind of problem whatsoever, let go of those damn sticks. Don't just let go of them. That's period. Let go of them. And then you're going to stop. And then you can click your C1 or your C2 button, get it in home lock, pull back on the stick, and it's going to come right back to you. No matter how far it's out. I don't care if it's a mile out. If you put it in home lock, pull back on that stick, it's coming back. So that's pretty much all I had. I think we pretty much covered everything for the FPV on the Litchi app. I hope you guys have a good day.